Hey everyone! In this video, I'll show you 5 pieces of adaptive equipment that you can use if you're having trouble feeding yourself after a stroke. This video is for survivors who have decreased grip strength, wrist extension issues, or fine motor coordination and dexterity issues. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Elise, and I am an occupational therapist and certified stroke rehab specialist on a mission to make stroke information simple. With that said, let's get into it. The first piece of adaptive equipment that I have for you is the universal cuff. I love universal cuffs because they are relatively inexpensive and can be used for a lot of different things. They have a little slip here that you can put silverware in, pens, and even toothbrushes. Now, for the purpose of today's video, feeding yourself, if we're using silverware, there's one thing that you need to keep in mind. The slip on a universal cuff is relatively narrow, so if you have really wide silverware, you want to consider one of two things. You can either buy a wider universal cuff, or you can hop to your nearest thrift store or dollar store and grab a couple inexpensive pieces of thin silverware, and usually they will be thinner. You can find some at the thrift store or at a dollar store. You can find universal cuffs through Amazon or medical equipment supply stores, but you're usually going to get the best price through Amazon. And currently in 2021, they are ranging from around $8 to $12. And the person who's going to want to use a universal cuff is if you've got really limited grip strength, manipulation as well, if you have some limited manipulation. Because what the universal cuff is going to do for you is actually hold on to the piece of silverware for you. The second piece of adaptive equipment I want to show you today is foam tubing. Again, another thing that I really love because it's so simple, it's relatively inexpensive, and you can use it for a ton of different things. The nice part about foam tubing is it comes with a multi-pack with different diameters that you can use for different sized items, whether that be cooking utensils, eating utensils, toothbrushes, razors, you name it, you can probably put some foam tubing on it. You can currently get a multi-pack on Amazon in 2021 for around $10, and that little pack of tubing will actually go a pretty long way. Foam tubing is going to be best for someone who has at least a little bit of grip strength and manipulation skills, but may not have enough to hold on to really thin pieces of silverware. The foam tubing just gives you a little more surface area to hold on to. The third piece of adaptive equipment that I have for you today is an adaptive utensil set. Now, I think a lot of people have the misconception that these have to be really expensive, but that's not the case. I actually got this set with a built-up spoon, fork, and knife for around $10 on Amazon in 2021. So they can be found relatively inexpensively. Now, this particular set isn't weighted, it's just got the built-up handles. One of the things that I like about a set, an individualized set of adaptive equipment that you can take with you is, let's say that you're going out to eat to a restaurant or you're going to a family get-together. You've got your own set of silverware that you know is going to work well for you. Whereas sometimes if you bring foam tubing or even a universal cuff with you, they might not fit the silverware where you're going. So if you don't mind the look of them, it's nice having your own personalized set that can come with you wherever and you know that it's going to work for you. The fourth piece of adaptive equipment that I have for you is a scoop bowl. And scoop bowls or scoop plates basically have a lip that runs around one side that gives you a little bit more control to scoop your food onto your utensil. So if you have trouble with manipulation, particularly just trying to scoop and get food onto your spoon or your fork, a scoop bowl might work really well for you. Now, these are also pretty inexpensive. I got this plate for around $8 on Amazon, so it doesn't have to be anything super duper expensive. And something to keep in mind, you can actually use the scoop bowls or scoop plates along with your other adaptive equipment. So if you're using a universal cuff, foam tubing, or an adaptive utensil set, you can use that in conjunction with the scoop bowl. It's about finding what setup works best for you. The last piece of adaptive equipment I want to show you today is cabinet shelf liner. If you've ever been in a rehab hospital, they may have used something called Dysum, and it's a very sticky material that kind of comes in sheets that you can put under different items to keep them from sliding around. But that is very expensive. Cabinet shelf liner may not be quite as sticky as Dysum, but it will definitely do the trick in most cases. Now, this won't actually help you get food from the bowl to your mouth like some of the other equipment I've showed you, but it might make the process easier. If you're using a traditional lightweight bowl or plate and you're trying to get your food onto your utensil, they may slip and slide around on you. Putting a little sheet of cabinet liner underneath your plate or bowl can keep that from slipping around on you and make it a little less frustrating. Now, I will say, I got this whole roll at the Dollar Tree for $1. So you can find them relatively inexpensively, usually locally. You can still buy them on Amazon, but they're going to be a little bit more expensive. So if you have the option to go to a store near you, that would be what I would recommend to save a couple bucks. Now, bear in mind, you can use this with any of the other adaptive equipment that I've showed you today. It's all about customizing your setup to make it work for you. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This helps me to reach more survivors and care partners of survivors. I'm also going to leave a link in the description below to all of the products that I used in today's video, as well as a link to my free ebook, The Stroke Recovery Pocket Guide, if you'd like a little more guidance for your recovery. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.